right, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year 2020. This is New Year's Day. And today I am working on a Victrola the 9th. This is an early transitional model for the 9th. This one was made in 1913. As you can see, it's got the square box with no feet. In 1915, the 9, we got little legs under here, little decorative legs. Other than that, it stays pretty much the same. Now, by transitional model, what I mean is the 1911 and 1912, the machine was made from 1911 to 1924. But 1911, 1912, this had an internal box horn. Basically, that means that the horn was formed from wood. It was built into the box itself, into the case, into the cabinet. And the motor kind of hung suspended in the middle of it. So that what would happen if the motor was a little noisy, you could actually hear that over the music sometimes coming out the front. And it had very close slats here in the front. These are very close together to hide the motors. You can look in there and see the motor. Now, in 1913, they came up with the innovation for this machine of the floating horn. What that basically means, I already took the motor board out, is that the horn is completely isolated from the motor. Now, the motor hangs right in here. But you can see, this is the horn, a cast iron elbow that runs all the way up the back here to the tone arm, and all the way to the front to where, oh, kitty cat running past me here, all the way to the front, out that wooden grill you see there. That isolates the sound of the music from the sound of the motor. I mean, you can still hear motor noises in Victrolas, that's normal. But you won't hear it out the horn itself amplified. 1913, transitional. So it has a floating horn in 1913. And here we also see, but it still has the nice piano hinges here. I love these. The nice piano hinges on there, really nice ones. Mahogany case, and now with the flat bottom, there is an intact, I'll show it to you, an intact patent sticker under there. Dated, I forget the exact date, but it's 1913 date on there. Now, as we can see from the motorboard, another transitional feature, I believe they did this to use up older motors from other machines in the 9. This metal plate and this wood combination here of a motorboard. And if you notice this has the first version, or the first auto stop on a 9. And that's your speed control down there. Definitely different than what you'll notice from the later ones. And notice these two knobs right here. That's to lift the motorboard up so you can lubricate the motor. There are no hinges on this motorboard. There would be a hinge right here. And you'd be able to pivot the board up on later models. I believe they got that they definitely had it by 1915. Might have had it in 14. I've never worked on a 14, so I'm not really sure on that. But for 1913, it still had, the whole motorboard had to be lifted out to lubricate the machine. And I'll show you what the motor looks like here. Got to do this careful. I'm going to damage anything. Doing it one-handed. Okay. This is the older style motor. Now you notice there's two springs. These are two large springs on here. These are the cans. The springs are good, but they're dry. They're thumping and bumping, which is normal. And here's your governor. This is your governor. Notice the weights. The governor springs are actually in good shape. Now, when I was digging around inside this machine, down there in the pits, you always find stuff. You see all the needles down there, things like that. I did very well with this one. Found a key. This is not, I believe, a Victrola key. This is for a cabinet or a desk drawer. Nice little antique brass key. And I also found, if I can find it here, there it is. This is a brand new, unused governor spring. And it's not one of the modern replacements, because the ones we have now all seem to be blued. This is old and it was really stuck in the grease. It had been there a very, very long time. So I'm guessing either since 1913 at the factory it fell in there, or at some point the governor was repaired, because these springs do occasionally break. They might have replaced the governor spring and just dropped one. Now when you replace governor springs, if one breaks, replace all three. This way all three springs have the same tension on them. It's much, much better for the governor. See, we have a little bit too much play there, but that's normal. That happens over time. These are the governor bearings on either side. They are adjustable to eliminate that. You always need some play here, but you want about half that much. You got to have some play or it's too tight. And sometimes that could actually bind the whole motor up. Inside these little caps under here, in each one, see that cap? The cap slides out about this long. There is a tiny ball bearing that is always stuck in there with antique grease. Not always. Don't trust to that. Sometimes they do fall out. So be careful taking them out. But you have to loosen those, get those ball bearings freed up. There's another ball bearing in here, right underneath that cap. That has to be freed up also, but it's larger, much larger than the ones in the governor bearings. And then the grease, this doesn't look that bad. The gears look nice. I mean, this machine's 107 years old. And the gears, look how nice they are. Underneath that grease, the grease isn't even that terrible. That's definitely very old grease, and it's coming off of there. New grease is going on. I'm going to clean the whole motor, but for its age, this is really in good shape. Part of the reason for that is the isolated horn, because when you have the horn doors open on the older machines, dust can go right in the front grille and end up all over the motor eventually. It'll really crap up. Now look at this motor board they have here. Nice mahogany motor board, all these edge pieces they put in here, cutouts, and the metal. This had to be expensive to make. But I guess if they had a few thousand of these older motors lying around, they wanted to use them up, there's one way to do it. They came up with a way. And we have the lubrication sticker on there. There you go. Now this machine probably has been sitting, I'm going to guess, 50, 60 years or longer, maybe 70 years. But it's in nice shape. You know, it looks dusty and dirty because it's been sitting. But it's not abused. You know, you do have some light alligatoring. That's normal for a shellac finish. This is a 100% original machine. The felt hasn't been changed, although I probably will change that felt. We'll see. We'll see if I change it or not. If it's loose, as I think it is, then I probably will change it. Otherwise, you can see here the transitional clamp on the tone arm. That is to actuate. That is to actuate the auto stop. All of these machines of this era came with the exhibition reproducer. And you can see that gasket in there is rock solid. And I'm sure it's loaded with air leaks. You don't want to do that. A rock solid gasket in here restricts the ability of this needle bar to move. The needle needs to be able to move in the record. And if it can't, it starts to act like a chisel, and that can destroy your records. So you always want to make sure, if you're going to play these machines, that this is rebuilt. Either yourself or you have one of the many folks out there who do it, rebuild it for you. See the air leak back here? The isolated gasket, that is, again, rock solid because it's natural rubber. That is like stone. See how it's loose? And there's a massive air leak there. That will make this sound tinny and just bad. Just bad. So this has to be completely rebuilt, but that's normal. I do it on every machine I do. Just part of doing it. Nice decal on there. Really in good shape. You notice, you can always tell that this has a floating horn, even if you don't open it. It's got the crank in the middle. Instead of in the front here, or right about here, where it would be on the older motor, on a 1912, it's moved to the middle, where it will stay until 1924. Because the motor is sitting in the middle now, right in that nice little depression there. And now this floating horn itself will be modified over the years. Eventually it'll come to have like a little raised cup in here that is designed to catch grease coming off the motor. You see all that grease on there? Eventually it'll start to flow off, and you see it's got onto the wood on the bottom. It's not going to hurt anything there. It just makes things messy. There's more needles down there. And let's see, what else are we going to... Oh, we went over the motor. Now that's going to have to come completely apart, right down to the last little piece. It'll be scrubbed up in solvent. The springs need to be removed from the cans, inspected for cracks or any other problems. I don't think there will be, because I did wind this machine up and spin it just to make sure. That's how come I know it thumps and bumps. I see nothing bad about the governor. It looks in pretty good shape. I don't think I really have to mess too much. I'm going to clean it up. But those springs actually look good. Very good. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. But just clean it. And we'll get some modern lubrication on there. I just basically get it to the point it runs nice. And of course, the cabinet needs to be thoroughly cleaned. I'll show you what the lid looks like. It's not bad. Come on. See, it's in pretty good shape. Get a couple little light watermarks there. That'll come out. Some scrapes, a few little dings. That's not the end of the world. It's going to look very nice when I'm done. Look at the little dust on there. Lots of dust, even in the back. It looks pretty good. And there, of course, is your turntable. Oh, the sticker. Okay, let me see if I can get the machine to rise up in the air without damaging it. plastic tabletop, so it's not going to hurt the machine. I drag it. There we go. License known as Victrola 9. And it is August 1st, 1913. These stickers are pretty close to the actual production time, and they're always right on the year. You see, we're going to have to replace the little feet on there, the little rubber bumpers. There, see there, that's one of the originals, rock solid rubber. I have those. I'll replace them. This way, when you put this on a tabletop, it doesn't rip everything to shreds. Look at that hinge. Just such a nice hinge, but expensive. So that's why they went to the other style of just top and bottom eventually. They had to cut costs a little bit, and that's one of the ways they did it. And speed production too, because this was one of Victor's most popular, I think it was the most popular selling Victrola in history. Over 500,000, I think, were sold originally from 1911 to 1924. And they remained in dealer inventory right up through 1926. So you could still order one in 26 or 25 from a Victrola dealer, and they'd send you one. And they were very, very good machines. Extremely robust, nice sound, all around really nice machine. And it's what most people think of when they think of a Victrola. You know, it looks like this. And they came with, well, they didn't come with it, but you could buy a variety of different tables to put these on. Many of them were fitted, so the machine would slide in on the bottom. And with top and bottom together, it would look like a regular console machine. You wouldn't know the difference. I actually bought one like that, a 1919 machine. It was fitted into a very nice table. It was mahogany. Matching patina on both the machine and the table so that everything looked like it was one piece together since 1919. I'm sure it had been. Saw it in an antique shop. Asked the price. The lady said, "Any records in there?" "No." "Okay, I'll do $200 on that, not a penny more or less." I looked at it and I said, "Well, you know, with a fitted cabinet like that, yeah, definitely $200. Not a problem. Here you go." And then she saw me take out my Swiss Army knife, open the screwdriver, unscrew a little plate in the back, slide the phonograph off of the tabletop, because it was in like a molded piece of wood here. It would slide right off. And her eyes bugged out of her head. Because obviously, because of the large size of the machine with the bottom cabinet, she was having a hard time selling it. While these, which actually can be shipped, they're light enough to be shipped. They're less than 50 pounds, used about 52 pounds shipped. She thought she had a floor model machine. Found out she had a tabletop. I imagine in her head she's thinking, I could have got $200 more. She couldn't have because it needed everything, but still, I had to fully service that machine. And it's the one I'm keeping actually because of that table it's with. And it plays really nice. They all do. And there's really, being a transitional model, the early model, the later model, they're all easy to work on. They all sound nice. You know, there's a lot of people say with the wood box horn, which is actually just like built in here. There's pieces of wood here. It's all integral with the case. And it's open on top with the motor in the middle. They say, "Oh, you can hear motor noise." But, I've had those machines. I had two of them at least. I sold them, eventually. And I still have some of the smaller machines with the wood, like the number 4, the Victrola the 4th, kept it for quite a while, right up into the teens. They sound fine. When they're properly serviced, the motors aren't making that much noise. When the reproducers are serviced, they actually do sound pretty good. They're not horrible at all. So just because a machine doesn't have a floating horn like this, a Victrola, that's no reason to discount it and not play with it because, it's a good machine. Despite that, it'll be a good playing machine once it's done. But it is nice to have the upgrades. And this 1913, like I said, transitional model has numerous little upgrades like this. Now I was going to try to read that sticker back there. Not sticker, I'm sorry. This is the ID plate. And you can see it's a bit different than the later ones. And it is kind of hard to read, especially in the dark. I don't have a flashlight with me. But I did the numbers on this before. It did come out to 1913, just like the sticker said it was. I'm not really surprised. So I'll take care of that later. And in 1913, it has the same little spent needle. Some in there too. Spent needle can that they would use right up into the very end. It came with a tiny little, I'm not going to try to open it one-handed. That's a nice, that's actually a container. It's 2 pieces. Fitted wood. There are some fiber needles in there, which I thought was a very nice touch. Little extras you sometimes get. Let me get a fiber needle down there so you can see one. For those of you that have not seen fiber needles before, let's see if I can get it without stabbing myself with the other needles down there. This is not as easy as it sounds. Okay. That's a fiber needle. It's bamboo. See the little point on it? That's actually still good. That hasn't been plated, I don't think. They make a special sharpener, a special cutter for these, so you could continue to put an edge on that. I think it's up to about 5 or 6 times before you run out of wood. And if you notice, let me show you. The fiber needles are triangular. See this is a triangular needle? This is why the later exhibitions have a triangular opening on there. That is to fit the fiber needle in there. The first exhibitions had a round hole. That's for round needles only. And they're kind of rare to find. But by 1913, they were using fiber, so there you go. Is there a serial number on this one? Yeah, there is. There's a serial number. Some of them have serial numbers and some don't. There you go. But this is the initial look at the Victrola the 9th, 1913. I'm going to, clean it up. It's going to be probably a couple weeks of me working on this. A little bit here, a little bit there. I don't do it all at once. What I will do is I will clean the wood. I will feed the wood to revitalize it, polish it up nice, but that finish will not be touched. That's an original finish with original patina. It's only original one time. Anybody can refinish a machine. Anybody can do that. That's easy. 1, 2, 3. Modern chemicals, whatever you want to use. But to bring an original finish back, that takes a little bit of know-how and skill, a little bit. And that is what really counts. That's what you want on an antique. You want it to look original. You don't want it to look like it rolled off the assembly line yesterday, because that's not how it should look. And then that kind of a patina that's on there, it takes 107 years to get. So you don't want to damage it. No sandpaper, no Brillo pads, no heavy caustic chemicals. Everything I use is cotton cleanser products. I had an official, well, not official, I don't know what his position was, but he's one of the big New York museums. Recommend this product. They use this product for working on, for cleaning wood on period furniture or whatever that could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. A very big, if I said the name, you'd know. A very big museum in New York City. And that was good enough for me, and I've been using it for almost 20 years, and I've never had any problems. It really does a nice job. I don't work for the company. They don't endorse me. I don't go for that stuff, endorsements or any shit like that, Just me and my machines. But here you go. The 1913 Victrola the 9th. And have a great New Year.